Today I'm going to talk about the book called Little Star by Ajvide Lindqvist. You might have heard of him before. He's the same author who wrote the book Let the Right One In, who's been also made into a film. And this book was published in 2010 in Swedish. I've read it in Swedish. And it is going to be published in English in September, accordingly to my information, late September this year, 2011. So, Little Star is about the former pop singer Leonard Söderström, and one day he goes into the woods and he finds something he didn't expect to say the least. Half buried in a plastic bag, he finds a little baby girl, and he gives her the kiss of life, and to his surprise, her first cry is like a pure musical note. Most people can't do like pure musical notes, and especially when not as babies. So it's not like a shriek, but a pure musical note. So he decides to take the baby back to home to his wife, and they hide her in a room in the cellar, keeps her hidden from public, so nobody knows she's there except their son, who comes across them one day. And this hiding her from the outside world kind of makes her disturbed and really strange. When she reaches puberty, there's something that goes in her head. You don't really understand what goes on in her head, but it makes her kill both her parents, or her adopted parents. So her brother, or her adopted brother, or Jeremy, he takes care of her after that. And he still kind of had to hide her somewhat, not as much, but somewhat. And even so, she's quite scared of the outside world still. Not far from Oslo, there's another girl. And this is also a quite strange, lonely girl. And she's not very happy with her life. She's being bullied. She is kind of feeling very, very outside of the society, outside from her classmates, and she kind of finds comfort in poetry and the internet. Among other things, she keeps kind of trolling the internet and finds a sort of comfort in that. And they both these lonely girls find each other on the net, and after a while they get in touch, and they kind of form like a powerful bond, and soon they do things you can't really imagine. And I'm not going to say anything else about what happens, because I think you should read the book when it comes out in English, or you can read some translation if you have another translation of the book. I know it's been published in Norwegian and Swedish, at least. Don't know about the other languages though, but it's a really good book. It's well written. It's quite grotesque. If you're into horror films, this might be the book to read, if you like reading at all. And if you don't really like into reading, you might even actually try this book, because it's quite horror in many ways. I qualify this as a horror book. Yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted at all. For me, it makes stronger images than most horror films, because in horror films you kind of see the scenes, while here you have to imagine them, and you see them all in your own head. But the thing about the book, in the book, you kind of have to read, and even though, you know, in horror films you can, if you feel it's really, really kind of gross you out, you can kind of turn away. But with a book you can't do that, because if you turn away you won't see what happens, or you don't know when next step will be, sort of, because you need to read to know what happens next. So yeah, not for the faint-hearted, as I said, but it's a really, really well-written book, and it's a really good book. So I highly recommend to read it. And I'm really looking forward to read another book by Ajvide Lindqvist, which I hope I will not do in too long. I have some other books to read, though. Long reading list as usual. So I will see you guys later. Bye!